Well, you teased this a moment ago. The ingredients for a traditional Thanksgiving dinner is expected to cost roughly 20% more this year, according to the American Farm Bureau. Bank of America Securities food and beverage analyst Peter Galbo is here to break down these price increases. Peter, thanks for joining us in studio, first and foremost. All right, so what can we expect this Thanksgiving in terms of some of these price increases?
Yeah, I think, thanks for having me on. I think, really your availability is going to be okay this year. It's just the cost of what you're paying is certainly going to be, a lot more. We're estimating up about 20%, according to that American Farm Bureau survey that came out, and even potentially a little bit more using some of the more recent data, particularly around turkeys, which is leading the charge here, up about 30% this year.
Yeah, I want to talk about turkey in particular because there was an avian flu that affected turkey, right? But at the same time, turkeys are on sale a lot of places, right? So, there's the survey and what it found, but there's what you're actually paying in the store. Do we tend to see that sort of discrepancy?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think where you're going to see the issue with turkeys might be actually after the holiday. Typically, these get shipped ahead about 3 to 6 months, and really where people are buying a lot of frozen turkeys. But I think to the broader question, a lot of retailers this year are using bundles and loss leaders to just get customers in the store and really using that turkey price at a lower level than they historically would.
Peter, there's a cool chart in your report listing all the companies that have some form of exposure to Thanksgiving. Can you break this down? Which companies are most concentrated, and then which are the best Thanksgiving Day investments?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think Hormel is probably your biggest exposure, just given the turkey segment that they have there.
There's no spam on Thanksgiving.
They own the largest turkey company out there,
Fair
Jennie-O Turkey, and actually about 50% of consumers put a ham on the table at Thanksgiving as well. So we are counting that in. In terms of best investments, we really like Kraft Heinz actually the best. So there you're getting some exposure on stuffing, but really more on the condiments and sauces side. So think about Heinz gravy that you're putting over the turkey. And actually Kraft was really out of stock last year on a lot of these holiday items, looking to rebound this year in a pretty strong way.
So we've heard about some retailers that were locking in last year's prices for Thanksgiving this year, Walmart being one of them. When we think about the inventory, is the inventory up to par with what we had seen last year in order for some of these prices to actually churn through the amount of inventory that we've heard from over the course of this earnings season? I
think you'll see better availability on some of your sides and items in terms of inventory this year. Again, some of those condiments, frozen vegetables. Think about my favorite, the French's crispy onion straws that go on top of the green bean casserole.
Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Didn't get one.
But yeah, I know in terms of the turkey, again, you should have plenty of availability this year. It's just going to be really after the holiday.
I am curious, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, how the consumption of processed foods has waxed and waned over the years. I mean, when I look at all of these, obviously it's all processed food items. I wonder how much people make from scratch versus buying sort of pre-made things, right? There was a whole piece in the New York Times. Ina Garten is talking about your store-bought Thanksgiving and how there's no shame in that. But have you watched those trends over time at all?
Yeah, I think it's a choice, family by family.
Sure.
I know that my mother would always make her own homemade stuffing and her own homemade gravy, but that's not an option for everybody. I don't know that we've seen a breakdown though in terms of how that's trending.
Outside of Thanksgiving, as we look towards next year, is there one turnaround food play we should all be watching?
I think it's Kraft Heinz. I really do. I think the
You
management
were left
team,
for dead, Peter.
Yeah, I think the management team, in terms of the operational efficiencies they put in place, the valuation discount relative to the rest of packaged food, that's where we'd be placing.
Is your favorite thing the green bean casserole?
It's a tie between that and stuffing.
Yeah, I'm a stuffing girl myself.
Stuffing. Interesting.
From scratch, for sure.
Yeah, I'm going cranberry sauce. We'll leave it there. Peter Galbo, Bank of America Securities food and beverage analyst. Good to see you. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.